was doing some ironing the other day and this program came on. You know, I'm not going to watch all the other stuff, but I wanted to watch something because I had to stand there and iron. And this program came on and it was about things that had been lost. You know, this place came up, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to make a little video myself about it and just think what your thoughts. Is this what they say it is, or is this a lot older? I don't know. What's your thoughts? Obviously, I'm just going to read out and say what the information says, but I'm wondering if this building is a lot older than they say, Tartarian. We're going to talk about this place as well, Bowdie, a town that was in America. Anyway, it had a fire, it had two fires, one in 1892 and then this one here. It doesn't actually say, it just says by 1932 basically. The second of, by the two major wars they destroyed the town, leaving what we now know as Bowdie. Yeah, I reckon something else happened there. Yes, very Star Fort like, you know, this is a fort, it's been built underground, or the ground, well it is built underground, that's a Star Fort sort of thing, look on it. It's very sort of sophisticated armoury that Belgium had, but this is Tartarian stuff. But anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about these things. This is all put together in one video that they'd put on the television and people were talking about it and the history and what it all meant. I mean, the mining one, it was so loud, they said, that they could hear it from miles away with whatever they were doing when they were mining. But who knows if any of it's real. But there's a lady that explains it. Anyway, if you go and look on about Bowdie, she's kind of, I don't know what she is, ranger, I don't know what she is. But she looks, you know, a bit police-like, but she's talking, you know, about this place. But anyway, let's move on and watch the video.
So the original owner, his name was Bob Lee. He was from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and he was an engineer in oil refinement, and used to come to vacation in Marco in the 70s, and ended up purchasing 4 end lots to build his dream home. Now, he's a very smart man. He came up with the actual system, the cistern to collect the water, also the shape so there'd be no sharp corners for the wind to catch on, and tested this sand, found out it was a good aggregate, and actually used that for the concrete. He originally built a prototype in the Smoky Mountains to work out some of the bugs and kinks before he came down here and actually built this property. This was a single family home that a gentleman started building in 1979, completed in 1981. It was a single family home, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 2,400 square foot that sat a quarter mile inland. He lived in the property from 1981 to 1992. That's when Hurricane Andrew came across the coast, blew out all the windows, caused massive water damage, and he ended up abandoning the property about 2 years later. Now, because of Hurricane Andrew, new passages have opened along the coast, which have increased coastal current and caused sand to erode at a lot greater pace. As well, in 1985, this island was protected, so there was no more building or seawalls or beach replenishment that could be done to actually fix the property once it started to see its demise. So a lot of people, when they first see the property that don't know about it, you know, we've heard everything from its anthills to its aliens, or it was a movie set. The average depth of the 10,000 islands is 3 feet. There's oyster bars, mud flats, sandbars. You really need to have local knowledge in order to navigate this area. Now, the only way to get down there is by boat. There's no bridge. So there's all these mangrove creeks and channels and tunnels you have to make your way through while avoiding those oyster bars, sand beds, and mud flats. So very treacherous to get down there. I think there's a lot of good and bad with leaving it and also taking it away. Like I said, it is a navigational hazard. I can see how in the future there might be issues with uneducated boaters or people coming around here, and you know, but it's like I said before, it's one of those things where we bring thousands, tens of thousands of people down here every year to check this out. So do we want to see it go? No. Is it probably important that they do remove it? I think in the next year or two, yes, it is something that needs to happen. A lot of charters will fish this area. A lot of fish in this area are structure oriented, so they're going to hang out on you know, sticks and logs or deviations in the ocean floor. So all that concrete sitting there does act as a natural reef, and it's been a help to this area as far as species are concerned. The near future for these properties, I think they will have to be removed because they are a navigational hazard, and if they do let them fall completely, it'll be a lot more difficult to actually remove the properties. Our hopes is that they take them offshore and make an artificial reef for scuba diving and for fishing, and rather than just putting this in the landfill and letting it take up space.
Yeah, so this is the house. So you can see that there's a floor underwater, but yeah, this is this house, and he bought, I think he bought 7 acres. It just reminds me that in the, you know, when they were doing the fairs, they said some of the buildings were 9 acres big, and 9 acres big. He bought a plot of land that was 7 acres. Anyway, it's unbelievable that, isn't it? 9 acres big. But anyway, yes, looks a bit different. The pod, it's not very big though. It must have been a lot of the house on the first floor, and the pod things are the bedrooms on the top. He had so many bathrooms and bedrooms, and as I say, in the video it says, there it is, look, see? So you imagine, that's only 7 acres, that bit there, and the mid building's 9 acres big. 9 acres! Yeah, anyway, yeah, anyway, it's a bit of information about it. And then it took me to this place. This is another pod house. So we're just going through the pictures. It's with my other pod house. It's a fairy house inside, isn't it? This was a 1970s dome house. Yes, great video there of that little pod house, and we're back to this one. I mean, that's almost what it looks like in the sea. Well, there's a bit of it missing, obviously, but that's what it looks like in the sea now. Look quite nice in these pictures. How upsetting then, to do all this effort and build this house, rah-de-rah, and then the sea takes. It's supposed to have looked like that inside. That looks quite big, doesn't it? So yeah, something like that. So, a bit like a tsunami or something, isn't it? And now it's out at sea. Not that far out there, but a little bit out there. He collected water differently, self-sufficiently. That must be another dome house, a bit like his. I don't think it was a really big house, was it? You can see all the pillars in it. I think that's the end. And then we're on to Bowdie. Bowdie was a town in California, but it wasn't really in California originally, which we'll find out in a minute. But Bowdie was a town, about 10,000 people. They said it was growing every day. It was a mining town, but they had an awful lot of, I think it's gambling places. So maybe this is why everybody wanted to move there, because they were all gambling. It wasn't just a mining town. It was, yeah. Anyway, we're looking at this place here. It takes a little while to load up. But, yeah, the first fire was in the late 1800s. About 1890 something, 85, 86. It was in this video somewhere. Yeah, I was just looking up Bowdie. But actually those are other places, but we're getting back to Bowdie in a second. Bowdie. So it said it was a town in 1876. So that's not long. Anyway, we won't ruin it. We'll wait for it to come along in a minute. It'll yeah. That's what we'll do. So it's some kind of, well, it was agreed that the Mexicans gave back this land to America. And that's where we're getting to now in the video. You can stop or hopefully go and do a bit of your own research as well. When you start to look at this documentation, you realise that it's much more complicated. So you first look it up and it says, oh, Mexico, da-da-da, then there was a treaty, da-da-da, we gave land back, and that's it. But then you realise that there's a bit more information, which hopefully you can see as we carry on. But it was really strange because I often go to this part and it has questions up. But when I went to put them in, none of them worked. None of these happened. But anyway, so this is what happens when you do the ironing. You end up watching programs which brought up the first one, the pod one, this one, and the next one, which was an armoury thing, which I'll show it after this one. But so it tells you there that it was a Mexican succession unorganised territory. What a name. And its capital was Sacramento. When it was under Mexican, it seems to me that it sort of could have been American or whoever it was, and then Mexico got it for about 20 years. Something like that. 25 years. And then in that time there, they signed this document. So by 1778, it was only back again, so many years back into American control again, which is probably why everybody moved back in there and these towns came, because the land became American again. Do you see what I mean? Anyway, and then that one says something different, and I was like, whoa, but I think this is it. I know this bit is working, but there was a bit when I looked it up, it just didn't give me any answers. Yeah, I could have gone on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But anyway, yeah, look at that. And then you think, oh, really? Right. Ah. And then a bit more information. Oh. Right. Oh, it's because Mexico was ruled by somebody else and then they weren't, and then I don't get it all. It's just when you get to the bit where you're going to, oh, there's layers and layers now more information, which makes it even more complicated and has other countries in it now, and I just wanted to find out why. But anyway, I think we see it in a moment. Is this a treaty of? Always treaties. It never actually quite says that Mexico did take it, but somehow they got it. If you believe their history, because I just don't know if I believe anything they say. Anyway, this place, Bowdie, is there on the map. So they give a date when it's actually finished, because the town had a fire, and then it had another fire, and by the time that happened, there wasn't much left, and everybody left just like, you know, you go there and all their things are still there, so they exited very quickly. And I mean, even if there was a fire, why didn't they just go back and get their stuff? So it's all a bit strange, because you've got that same, but again, maybe it was destroyed in its return to the USA and they're lying about the times. Anyway, you can stop and read any of those little bits of information. So they last mined, well, it got closed down in 1934, they're saying. It was just being mined then. Not many people lived there then. On border with Nevada. New people arriving every day on the stagecoach. But now it's a ghost town. Obviously, like I said, they were mining there, and for some reason there was lots of gambling things. Anyway, there aren't many pictures of the fire, but then I suppose the timing, it was quite a long time ago, but we know that if they were making electric cars in this time, someone said to me, well, it puts the wild, wild west out the window then, if they were in electric cars then, or could have got hold of electric cars, because most of history is a history. You can see things. Hey, look. This is how the house is left. Whenever these ones left. Did these ones go in the late 1800s? Did these ones go in about 1918, 1920 or the 1930s? Just don't know. Look at it. It's just, they said 10,000 people live there, and there's a scattering of houses now, and there are buildings, but there should be thousands of houses, and there isn't. There's a few houses. I think that one says there. That one says, yeah, anyway. So, 1859. That's not long after it's come back to American power again. There's painting there with those pictures of the fire in it. Yeah, hopefully everybody can read that. There are articles about it. Basically, you're not supposed to take anything from there. It's bad luck if you take anything from their houses, because obviously there's a lot of stuff left in the houses that are there. But in a minute, we're going to hear what she says. The lady talks a little bit about this place. Anyway, let's hear it.
Now we're going to cross the Sierra Nevada to the remote California ghost town of Bowdie. It's a place that's famous not just for its gold rush history, but for something darker, a curse that supposedly falls on anyone who dares to take something from the abandoned town. And even though some visitors swear they've been cursed, this legend isn't exactly what you think. Carly Severn went to Bowdie to find out more.
The Curse of Bowdie. For years, it's been the subject of rumor, supernatural lore, and online chatter. It's said that removing anything, even a rock, from this decaying ghost town in the hills east of Yosemite brings the perpetrator sudden misfortune, from sheer bad luck to health problems and even mysterious accidents. People around here know about the so-called curse, all right.
My brother once stole a couple rocks from Bowdie, and later that night he just couldn't sleep, kept being bothered, and he kept getting his door banged on.
If you take something, your firstborn gets taken out of the crib and you'll never see him again.
Is that true?
I don't know, but I'm afraid of taking anything from this place.
And hearing that, how could you not go take a closer look? Designated a state historic park since 1962, Bowdie is over 15 miles from the nearest town, connected only by a narrow, winding highway that turns into an unpaved dirt road. I'm here to meet Catherine Jones, who works with the park rangers to show visitors around this remote place.
We are on Main Street in Bowdie, but if we were here in 1879, this would be wall-to-wall buildings. So this is only a small portion of what used to exist here, but we're lucky that we have so much here to see.
Bowdie is preserved in what the Park Service calls arrested decay. And while the carpenter shop and the firehouse are little more than tumble-down ruins, other buildings and homes look like they were just left yesterday. You can peer through their windows and glimpse their dusty interiors, where dishes still line the counters.
So, there is Bowdie, or what's left of it. Not much is there when there was supposed to be 10,000 people there, or more. People arriving every day, gambling, mining. Yeah, maybe it was destroyed in the war to get it back to America. Who knows? It's just left like this. Quite incredible, isn't it? Those chairs, nicely made chairs. A little bit dated, isn't it? But looks sort of fairly normal. You never know, it could have been made for us for all we know. Look at that. Whole sort of kitchen left. And that was, I think, one of the ladies that was talking, but it just seems really strange. Anyway, I just found it interesting. You know, as I said, this is what happens when you iron and don't want to watch the news or any of that crap, but you watch something, and I just thought, well, I'm going to do my own research to see. It's there on the television with programmes made of it. It's there on the internet. But I still, you know, anyway. What's your thoughts about this Mexico thing? You know, I don't know. You realise everything's different. Like, we only became a country in 1925. Yeah, it was only so many years before I was born. Anyway, large fire in 1892. There you go. And, anyway, we're on to Belgium now. There are loads of these concrete, domey looking things as well in Belgium, and these forts. And supposedly they had this really big gun. The tops came up, more guns came out, and it was built and it protected. And this lady, when she was talking, here it is, it's destroyed now, but they were talking about it saved it helped the bit because they were a barrier between France and Germany, and look what Germany was doing. But we know what that was all about. That was the Holy Roman Empire now. Anyway, what it was is that although it was made of concrete, it didn't have any iron rods in it. And it kept being pounded and fired at, and then one day this one bomb, the whole thing collapsed like that. But it was built in the 1830. I know Belgium gained its independence in 1830, but it was built a while ago, this thing, in the 1800s. So, you know, anyway, so basically, yeah, little drawings. Looks a bit Star 40-like, doesn't it? So, you know, these little things here can come up, and there was more guns. And, you know, it's all to do with war. We don't know really what it was, it's just what they're telling us, isn't it? Look at it, that's sort of... Yeah, I think that must be another one of them that has survived. So that one didn't. And they said that hundreds of men were trapped down there and died. So that's not very good, is it? It was the most supreme defence ever, except they didn't use reinforced concrete, and in the end, after being pounded and pounded and pounded, the whole thing just collapsed. Seems a bit strange that, like, one bomb, right place, total devastation, when they'd been pounding it for days. I'm not sure if this is what's left. This is the information they're showing, but there are other ones as well, so they might just be showing you what it would have looked like inside, or maybe this is a part of it that wasn't destroyed. But there's loads of information there about it, but it gets too much. I can't take it all in sometimes, because I was just wanting to show you it. I mean, it was built in the 1800s. It looks like a Dalek there. It was built in this time, and now it's in concrete. It's got this concrete thing on it, and I don't know. Just the timing and what it is. I don't know. They look so weird as well. But I watched a few videos on it, and they're explaining that it was the utter defence. You know, they wanted to get you into those sort of trenches around it. And once you're in there, they opened fire, and there was just no hope for you. And the way that they said that they made the corners, it meant that the bullets could go round corners, so there was no way that you could get away from being annihilated by them if you came into this building. And now it looks like that. I wonder who destroyed that. Really. And they think, wow, at that rate, you know, Belgium was quite sophisticated then in its armoury. Yes. Just pictures, I don't know. I didn't know anything about this place until it's, where is it? It's Fort... Where is it? Is it no, not Eden. Where is it? Oh, I can't see. It must be Eben. I think it's that one. But anyway, there it goes. There you are. It's all destroyed. But it never came into my... I don't know. But look at the state of that. It's quite devastation, isn't it? It got left. And there are other ones with these shapes. Some of the buildings they put with them, they look older. Were they, you know, the Tartarians, were they more... There you go, they wanted you in those trenches. Were they more... You know, everybody seems a lot more sophisticated than... The people don't look it, but some of the stuff, like... Do you know that they made contact lenses in the 1800s? They were made of little slithers of glass. But they made them then. And then they made rife machines, which is all what hospitals need. They need them, but don't use them. Because I don't think they can make money out of those the same way. You get given a frequency and it heals you. They made those. They made electric cars in the early 1880s. Anyway, there you go. That's it there. Whatever it is. Lancin. Sorry, it wasn't the other one. It was that one. Lancin. And those are the guns it had. Anyway,